Today I'm going to teach you how to launch a server on the Cloud Tools dashboard. So the first thing we do is click this Launch Server button. And when we do that, we get brought to the spawner page. At the spawner page, there are three options to spawn a server. There's the manual choice, the simple choice, and the recommended choice. So let's start with the simple choice. So click simple choice. And from here, we first make our selection of our instance type. As you can see, there is a large list of instance types to choose from. Now this table can also be sorted and filtered very easily. So say we want a server with a low amount of RAM. All we have to do is click this RAM button over here and it'll sort it from smallest to largest. Say we want it from largest to smallest, all we have to do is click it again. And then to switch back, all you have to do is click it one more time. And to showcase the filtering, I'm going to go to the processor type. So as you can see, there's a bunch of Intel processor types right here. Say we want an AMD processor type. All I have to do is click this icon to the right of the column header, type in AMD, and as you can see, all instance types that do not have a processor type of AMD were filtered out. So I'll get rid of this filter, and we'll just stick with something small like the C4 large. The next thing we have to do is select the instance reservation. There are only two options. There is the spot option and the on-demand option. The only difference between these two is the spot instance reservation is actually cheaper. So you can see demand is 10 cents an hour, while the spot instance is only 3 cents an hour. The reason for this discount is that the on-demand servers have a priority over the spot instances. And by that I mean if someone selects an on-demand instance reservation and there's not enough servers, your spot instance reservation server will be kicked off by AWS. So your server will be terminated and someone else will take it if they have an on-demand instance reservation. Now I want to point out that this is not a very common occurrence. There are users who use the spot instance reservation who can go weeks and even months with their server being uninterrupted. And you could also see on the right that there is a column called spot interruption percentage. And the higher the spot interruption percentage, the more likely that this server will be terminated by AWS if an on-demand instance reservation needs that reservation. And the last thing we need to do is select the instance image. So I'm just going to go with the first one here. And once we do that, we are good to launch. But before we launch, I want to go over the recommended choice first. So for the recommended choice section, you could actually put in the specs of the instance you want, and we will give you a list of servers that best fit those needs. So say we need a server that has 4 CPUs, 0 GPUs, and let's say 10 gigs of RAM. So once you put in those specs, we give you a list of servers that best fit those needs. So you see there's recommended, there's cost efficient, there's performance. Say we only want cost efficient servers. We could see these here. Say we want more than 3 options. Let's do 6 options. We give you 6 servers that best fit those needs at the cheapest price. So let's just go ahead and select the first one. After you select your instance type, you then select your instance subnet. So for this account, I only have 2 options. We could stick with the first one. One thing I want to point out about the instance subnets is that if you have different instance subnets attached to your account with different availability zones, the prices for the instance types may be different, and you can see that here. So it's usually a good habit to check and see if you can find a discounted price depending on your availability zones. But in this case, they are the same, so we'll just stick with the first one. We'll then go to our instance reservation and keep it at spot, and then we'll select our instance image. After the instance image, you select the instance security group. In this case, I only have one, so it is pre-selected for me. And once I've made all these selections, I am good to launch the server. But before we do that, I want to go over the final option, which is the manual choice. So the manual choice is the same as the simple choice, but with more customization options. So here we have the full list of instance types to select from. We could just stay with the C4 large. And just as before, we select our instance subnet and our instance reservation, as well as our image and security group. And in the manual choice, we also have the advanced options. Here you can change your cache disk size and select if you want to disable the instance slots on your master server. So let's just say we want to change this to 505. You can also set these defaults in your profile section. So now that we have made our selections, we can launch the server. Once we click launch, we get brought to the spawn pending page, and here you can see your budget information and you can see the information about the instance that is spawning. You also have the option to start a web UI as soon as the instance is spawned here. You can click Jupyter Lab or VS Code, so I'll click VS Code. And once the server is spawned, a VS Code web UI will spawn up. And that is how you launch a server with CASFS Plus.